And I want to talk about Trevor Lawrence because we've seen so many times, especially last year, people were putting their faith into Trevor Lawrence. They said he's the number one overall pick. He's going to do this. He's going to be the greatest. He's the greatest quarterback prospect we've ever seen. Is he? Is he the greatest quarterback prospect we've ever seen? Is he going to be, some people are crowning him a gold jacket winner right off the bat? Is he ever going to be a top 3 quarterback in the NFL? So that's the question I'm asking because a lot of people put a lot of stock into this guy. And let's have a conversation about, is Trevor Lawrence a bust? Is Trevor Lawrence a quarterback that's ever going to be a superstar quarterback? And I'm going to say no. I don't think that he'll ever reach the potential, the likes of Patrick Mahomes, the likes of Tom Brady, the likes of Aaron Rodgers, having consistent success over the course of his entire NFL career. And one of my biggest gripes with him has been it's the consistency with him. We saw it in college where a lot of times he'd overthrow guys on a 3-yard slant. He'd make things way too complicated for his offense. And that's something I've seen even heading into this year, right? We haven't seen him with a star receiver, so I understand that. We haven't seen him with a great offensive line, so I understand that. So he will reach top 10. He may even get close to the top 5, but to say he's a shoo-in to be a top 3 quarterback, once again, situations matter in the NFL, and the Jaguars haven't put him in the best situation. So I look at Trevor Lawrence, and if they don't add a star receiver, if they don't help build that offensive line in the next year, we might see a quarterback that's going to teeter outside the top 10, the guy who has all the arm talent but can't quite put it all together. So I look at the situation. It's a bad situation, and he's got potential, but he has to be consistent, and that's my thoughts on Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I think with Trevor Lawrence, for me, is I've always thought that Trevor Lawrence was a little bit overhyped coming out of Clemson. Genuinely felt that way. I felt like there was never, when you watch a quarterback, you want to see them continue to take the next step each year in college. I never felt like I really saw that with Trevor Lawrence. It seemed like when he went out, when he was outside of that freshman year where he won the national championship, when he had the opportunity to finally, separate himself, he just failed to do so. Right. So I always felt like he would struggle going to an organization like the Jacksonville Jaguars, being tasked with uplifting them. I think Trevor Lawrence probably could have excelled had he been in a situation in which he was sitting behind like an Aaron Rodgers or a quarterback that was already well positioned in the National Football League, and he had an opportunity to sit and learn. And I think that honestly, Trevor Lawrence had some unrealistic expectations coming into the National Football League, and I think that for people that were already ready to crown Trevor Lawrence, I think that this shouldn't really have been a shock to you. I do think Doug Peterson is going to be able to get more out of him. I'm curious to see how much more he can get out of him and what that exactly looks like. But I think that Trevor Lawrence will be a capable starter in the league. I don't know if Trevor Lawrence will ever be, the greatest thing since sliced bread, like he was quote unquote supposed to be coming out of the league. I think that Trevor Lawrence is what, I don't want to say is what he is, because I'm not going to write the guy off just yet. But I do think that what we've seen, I think his ceiling's a little bit higher than this currently, but I don't think that he'll be one of the upper echelon quarterbacks. And that's okay. That's fine, right? Not every time, not every quarterback in the National Football League is going to be a star or a stud, but certainly when you draft a guy in the first round, you expect to see more out of him. And Trevor Lawrence, I've yet to see that from.
And I think that's the biggest question that, people have about Trevor Lawrence is, what's his ceiling? Where's he going to be? And I look at it, and if they don't change something up, I need to see, and this is, if you're watching this and you're going to watch the Jaguars in the coming weeks, we need to see Trevor Lawrence run the read option. We need to see Trevor Lawrence outside of the pocket, use his legs. You have Travis Etienne, and you gave him, 15 touches last week? Give him more than that. Let him and Trevor Lawrence do their thing. We saw in the preseason when Lawrence is able to use his legs, threaten his defense outside of the pocket, that's where he succeeds. Because if he's forced to be a pocket passer, he doesn't have that top 3 ceiling, because we saw in college, where did he succeed? His legs outside of the pocket, using his arm in play action. So that's what we need to see out of Trevor Lawrence. Use his legs, use his youth to his advantage, because if you force him to be a pocket passer, he's not going to have the type of career that other quarterbacks like Tom Brady, that some people are saying, Aaron Rodgers, even Joe Burrow is going to have, because he's not that typical pocket passer. Use him outside of the pocket, use his legs, and hopefully we'll see something different out of him.